which stars Jafar Jackson and Coleman Domingo. Jackson is Michael's real-life nephew, and you may recognize Coleman Domingo from the series on Netflix, 4 seasons, the films Sing Sing and Euphoria, the TV show, not the film. This film was directed by Antoine Fuqua, who previously did Shooter, the Equalizer film series, and Training Day. Michael is about a multi-talented yet sheltered Michael Jackson who journeys his rise to global domination, but struggles to find his own independence from his abusive, controlling father, whilst he manages Michael, starting from his early days in the Jackson 5 and spanning to his later years commanding the world as a solo artist and the king of pop. I know domination and commanding are strong words, but let's face it, controversy or not, the man was the biggest thing in the world. So, poppin' or not, let's check over with Bucky. Are you there, Bucky? How was Michael? Walk Poppin'. I don't even know what that means. Thank you. Oh, wait, I do know what that means. Let me tell you by starting with the positives. Acting-wise, Giuliano Valdi, I am so sorry for mispronouncing your name. The young boy who played Michael Jackson and Jafar Jackson, who played more adult Michael Jackson. Both of their times on screen shined for me. I don't think anyone will argue that they both captured the king of pop very well in both the early and later stages, but they also captured the emotions that the characters went through in the moments on screen. Like young Michael watching Singing in the Rain with his mom, and older Michael rereading Peter Pan to Bubbles the monkey. You can really see character emotions when they watch these important works through Michael Jackson's eyes. Nia Long was good, but if the writing was stronger, we could have gotten an Oscar-worthy performance out of her. But more on that later. Now, Coleman Domingo. I'm gonna say this a couple times. Michael is supposed to be a family film aiming inspiration to audiences of all ages, including children. And what do family films have? A villain. Domingo steps in the shoes of the Jackson 5's father, Joseph Jackson. This villain has a gravelly voice and the craziest fucking makeup I have ever seen. According to sources, Joseph Jackson was quite abusive and controlling, but they leaned a little too hard on making Domingo look like the devil. There's even a scene with Joseph and Don King drinking whiskey and smoking cigars by the fireplace, plotting with villainous intent with their gravelly voices, sounding so alike, I couldn't tell which one was talking. Anyways, I blame the script and makeup exaggeration on anyone but Domingo. He's a fantastic actor, but this character was cut out of a Disney film, and not in a good way. I guess they look alike, but they tried too hard makeup-wise, in my opinion. Direction and production was A-fucking-1 in Michael. Directing, the cinematography, and the editing not only recreates iconic videos and performances, but they keep your eyes glued to the screen with masterful pacing and extraordinary spectacle. While watching the film, I was trying to figure out, why is this so much better than I thought it could be? And it came to me. The sound alone respected the film's storytelling by only using music and melodies from Michael Jackson's music as the score of the entire film. This gave quieter scenes room to breathe and not force audiences on what to feel unless accompanied by his discography, but never overdoing it. The Thriller sequence was it was awesome to watch, but the final 2 concert scenes of Michael performing Human Nature and Bad were extraordinary. Human Nature, I've never been a big fan of. I just haven't. I'm not saying it was a bad song, but it didn't really quite capture me like it captured others. But I thought they made the concert experience of that song translate very well in the theater. But bad, it was bad. No, it wasn't really bad. It was really good. It was good. It was so fucking good that I have to say it was the best concert experience I've ever been to. Seriously, best concert experience I've ever been to. Previously, I thought films like Elvis did a good job, but this shit was masterful. It made me happy that I didn't need to go to an over-expensive stadium and only have to go to a movie theater just to have the feels this strong. A fucking plus. These scenes alone were terrific enough for me to solidify loving this film, but luckily everything else was well directed and paced. However, the weakest point, like most biopics, was the story. There's a certain fear of biopics when it comes to story, and that is playing it safe. You'll see that even though critics scathed the film for, in a nutshell, shitty storytelling, historical inaccuracies, and omitting controversial events, the term whitewashing is thrown around a lot. I'm going to start just a little bit back. You'll see that even though critics scathed the film for, in a nutshell, shitty storytelling, historical inaccuracies, and omitting controversial events, the term whitewashing is thrown around quite a few times in reviews for this film. Whenever I heard of whitewashing, I thought of casting white actors in non-white roles in films like Gods of Egypt, Exodus, Gods and Kings, Ghost in the Shell, Aloha, Prince of Persia, Lone Ranger, and Othello. Yikes. But Michael's whitewashing claims are for a different definition, watering down stories, ignoring controversies, and praising the lead protagonist as a saint, pandering to audiences for an entertaining and pleasant watch instead of a problematic, conflicted moral dilemma upon viewing. Other problematic biopics that suffered from ignoring the dirty details and flowering up stories include Green Book, Blindside, and Greatest Showman. These films try and bring in all ages and hide behind providing movie magic and try to help you escape from what the facts may actually be in the true story outside the screen. The issue is, all these films take this safe route and make the core stories boring as hell, in my opinion. You hear the same lines in these. It's your destiny. You can be whatever you want to be. You're truly special, blah, 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 blah. Now, this was Jackson's true ideal attitude for his fans in real life. That's true, but we've just seen this story 100 times, and filmmakers always try to choose to make the core character completely empathetic, especially if the person or family members are still alive in real life, so they don't get pissed off enough and denounce the film, which still happened in Michael's case. Filmmakers do whatever they can to shield their flaws, but flaws make characters more interesting in storytelling. If I have a flawless protagonist and you're going to claim that that's how he was in real life, no flaws, I'm going to call bullshit because everyone has their flaws. And Michael, he lacks courage to stand up to his father and suffers from disconnecting to adults compared to kids who he connects with easier because he never had a childhood of his own. But like all these films, the story represents him as a saint that can get really tedious in storytelling. What upset me most about this aspect was a scene between him and Nia Long during the dreaded Act 2 drawl that most films suffer, biopic or not. But this film had shit that was so goddamn boring in its second act that it's not the actor's fault, though. It was the same dialogue you hear from these watered-down biopics, recycling lines for the parts where the protagonist is feeling hopeless and giving up only for the mentor to pick up the pieces, give words of encouragement enough for them to succeed in the climax. This scene, well, not this scene, the scene in the hospital was where Nia could have gotten her Oscar nomination if only it were written a little better. Instead, it was the bare bones of what could have been better heart-to-heart for these characters. I believed in Nia Long's love for Michael's character, but I just didn't care for the words that she was saying because I feel like I heard them 1,000 times. And yet, I can surprisingly look over these safe avenues that the film has done and separate art from artist, film from reality, and become entertained from everything outside of the safe plotting. Because of its direction, music, acting, and pacing, I give this film a large popcorn. The butter could have been added if it had some originality when it came to conflicts, but everything else was too strong for me to give it a lower score. I also note that I understand that this film may take its liberties, but it is a movie. They all do that when they tell true stories, but the film by itself helped me escape the questions I had outside the movie theater. Do you agree? Did you see it or are going to? Did you hate it? Or did you hate me for calling it good? Let us know in the comments.